Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. How's everybody doing tonight? I'd like to welcome to the stage
King Andile Mama.
to everybody in the house. Give a warm round of applause for
King Andile Mama.
And he captures the moment.
King Andile Mama.
Man, it is extraordinary.
One of our very own, a friend to the room, a man that we have such respect for, Clinton Lawson, has qualified Magesi to the DSTV Premiership. Congratulations!
Thank you so much, Andile.
Coach, I wonder, has the bubbles have they settled yet?
I've had lots of coffee.
The weekend that was, and what a weekend it was at the Sports Awards. Hey,
Chincha di Brelli 10 times.
Bona, chippy.
Andile ulifara boss. Hey, ayikiwa team yakho bra. Ayikiwa.
On the line now to have a conversation with us, a man that we've been trying to track down for so long, but he seems to be almost impossible. Bradley Grobler of SuperSport United. Listen, Bradley, I'm shocked and alarmed when a player of your caliber comes onto this show for the very first time. What's going on, Brad? Are we fighting?
No, not at all. Not at all.
We had a guy, Opta Jabu, look up some really cool stats, and I don't know if you know this.
Let me stop you there. Their stuff is incredible. I mean, I really enjoy it.
Rodney Ramagalela. Rodney, it's been a while since we spoke, man. Are you still strong? You're one of the strongest guys I've ever met in my life. When Rodney gives you a handshake, you need a cast. You know, it's ice cream. So don't forget ice cream also. Cape Town Spurs coach Ernst Middendorp now joins us on the line. Coach Rurani speaks very highly of you, by the way. You guys have a good relationship?
We kept it under the carpet for a number of years, but I have a good relationship with a number of other coaches. I'm close to Klopp, I'm close to Pep Guardiola, I know Eric Ten Hag, but I'm not talking in public about it. This is for me behind closed doors.
Night Amplified with Andile on Metro FM. Monday through Friday, 6 to 7 p.m. Game over.
What is special leave? What is it? Special leave. 9 after the R6 on the Mighty Metro FM. Thank you so much for the touchdown. They do it again tomorrow between 3 and 6. Do join them. What is special leave? If you can put on special leave, what's so special about leave that you don't want? There's a report saying he's in place on special leave at Sekhukhune United. I mean, I thought he'd done so well. He even came up in our podcast Friday conversations here with guys saying, hey, you know, he deserves a nod. He deserves recognition of sort. As you know, he won't speak right now. He's still on special leave. But we'll follow that one up. We'll follow it up. And of course, Morana Matupi reminding me earlier that we must keep an eye for tomorrow. Tomorrow is a big day. Tomorrow is a big day for many reasons. And as a person who's currently reading Caster Semenya's book, you know, I'm all in. But the European Rights Court is going to make a final decision on Caster Semenya tomorrow. So by the time we go on tomorrow, the final decision on the matter that's been outstanding for so long, Caster Semenya's story, will unveil, I guess. It would have ran its course as far as the court processes are going. So maybe we look at that tomorrow. Today, though, they call him the Houston Cougar. South African-born Sean Maswanganyi, otherwise known as Patuchezo, is out in Houston being trained by the great Carl Lewis. Is he our great 100-meter, 200-meter hope? Is he the man that can finally do what Akani has been trying to do for a while? The two of them together in a relay team, dropping the baton twice. Is this our time? So that's half of our show. The other half is in and around VV. Vusi Vilakazi, former Chipa United, former Golden Arrows, and now Richards Bay coach, who is facing a very difficult time down there, but he's been able to mastermind some great victories in its route, beating both Kaizer Chiefs and Orlando Pirates. We'll speak to him about all things Richards Bay. Let's take a break. When we come back on the other side, we started the show. And of course, a little bit later on, I'd love to hear from you on 060-552-7303. Call us on 086-000-2160.
The biggest commercial radio station in South Africa. We are going nowhere. We are here to stay. Let's go. We are here with you now and forever. Check it out. Oh, man. Metro FM. It's where you want to be. Sports Night Amplified with Andile on Metro FM.
The principal, Victor Hlungwane, former SAFA and KEP referee, alongside the best journalist in South Africa at Super Journal. Of course, he's out in Dobsonville, wants to speak to you, Vic. You're very popular here.
Andy, you owe me. You remember last week what I told you?
What did you say?
This incident of Rowan Williams was Williams deserved the red card or a yellow card, and they said it's a yellow card.
You did say that. You said it's a yellow card. Well, you've been proven right. The referee agrees with you.
We don't listen to you. Don't just listen to me. I just want to let you know about those things.
So you just called to tell me I must listen to you.
Exactly. If you was telling me it's not bad, just listen. Just call me.
There we go. Of course, yeah, to Dobsonville, I appreciate it. He's our new referee. He's on the bench for it.
6 to 7 p.m. Sports Night Amplified with Andile on Metro FM. Proudly brought to you by SABC Sport.
Hey, it's Africa's favorite sporting platform. It's Sports That Amplified with Andile. Up next is an athlete who's held South Africa's flag very high, up in the skies, really, at every level of competition. Sean Maswanganyi has just made South Africa proud once again by setting a brand new record at a track competition that saw him beat them all. The speedster, who's out at Texas Tech University. From Soweto to the States, Sean now joins me on the line. Sean, welcome. Always good to have you, buddy.
Good to have you back in the studio.
Hey, I wanted to call you Patuchezu, but you know, I know you said when you use that name, you don't get any girls in the States.
You know, I was someone on Twitter was just asking me, it's like, you know, it's Sean even your real name. I'm like, guys, it's on my ID. I promise you guys, it's there. It's my real name.
I mean, it's also easy. I mean, to be honest, when I put you for where you are and the people you're working with, but Sean is his real name, not joining us. Congratulations, boy.
Thank you.
I mean, there's so much to congratulate you for, but let's start with the record.
I mean, yeah, because that happened quite
February, wasn't it?
2 months back. Yeah, it was February. So, you know, that was the indoor season, and that kind of like set the tone for me in terms of how the rest of my season is going to look, because, you know, that was like one of my best indoor performances I've ever had, like especially in college. And this being my last year in college, I knew I had to finish off with a bang. Unfortunately, that week of like the main national championships, I had gotten sick, so I wasn't able to like, you know, replicate those performances. But, you know, outdoor season, you know, I opened up, I ran 10:02 to open up the season, which was like one of my fastest openers. And then, you know, just recently this past weekend, I ran 20.10, which is the Olympic qualifier. So, you know, I booked my ticket for Paris in the 200, and I just need to break sub 10 again to make sure I qualify for that 100.
And
but
that's what
overall, you know.
And that's what that first congratulations was for. I mean, the record. But the second one was you've qualified for the Olympics in the 200. You're going to be representing our country. You're going to be there. So proud of you for that as well.
Thank you so much.
And then the 100, what are we doing about the 100?
It's a work in progress. You know, I could have done it this weekend, but, you know, the way the circumstances was, literally, it was a tornado watch we were at, and, you know, the weather was just very wishy-washy. I mean, there was even a point where I ran a race at like 11 p.m. Imagine, almost midnight, we were running on the track because we had a 3-4 hour delay. So the meet was always moved. And by the time I ran the 100, like which was like the Saturday, they had to rush us through the day, and I didn't have time to really prepare the way I usually want to prepare. So I didn't execute my race to the best of my ability. But I still won the meet. But I didn't get the time I wanted. I knew that I knew from the blocks already that I didn't execute right. But I just try to stay relaxed and just focus on getting the W. I mean, there's still plenty of races in the season to get that qualifier in. So I'm not too worried.
What do you need to run for the 100 to qualify?
10:00.
You've got 10:00 in you?
Oh yeah, definitely. Because I opened up 10:02, and I haven't really.
Yeah, have you had a 10 or less time this year or in the last couple of meets? Because I haven't seen it, and that's why I'm asking.
Oh no, I haven't. That's why that I haven't had the best of conditions to run. And because we travel so much, so we were in the East Coast just the other week, and it was literally almost, it was like 8 degrees. So the weather, we always play by ear, and we try hope for the best and stuff. But sometimes some conditions are not best for sprinting. But usually around this time of the year, it's going into summer, so it's becoming a lot warmer, and sprinting conditions are becoming more favorable. So this run about the time I usually qualify. Anyways, my freshman year or my first year in university, I qualified around mid-May, late May. So I'm hoping for around the same time as well.
Looking at your calendar now, you've got a couple of meets to go. You've got some championships to go. Where are you hoping to do this? If I know that you're going to do it, you've looked at the weather patterns. You've looked at where you're going to be racing. Where do you think you can run this sub-10?
Within the next 2 meets for sure, because we have regionals, which is pretty big. NCAA regionals, which is like the nationals or the collegiate nationals, first round and second round. We run 2 races there, which is going to be in Arkansas. So Arkansas is a state a little above Texas. Should be good weather.
Oh, Sean, I'm going to need you to move around a little bit, man. I can't get you clearly. The network not great to us at the moment. Can you just move around a little bit? They say Texas is huge. You shouldn't have a problem with finding space. There we go. I've got you perfectly now. That's it. Don't move. Stand in that position, whatever it is that you are. Keep holding the fridge door if that's what you're doing. And I look at you and everything you've done, and I think and I think it's because of your coach as well, and who he is, that you have been put as one to watch coming into these Olympics. What's your coach saying to you? What's the legendary Carl Lewis saying to you right now?
At the end of the day, it all boils down to the basics. I just got to take care of the controllables. I control the controllables. So me coming to practice, being consistent every day, making sure I go to my rehab, making sure that, my body is always recovered and rested. Just making sure I take care of my nutrition and practice, So when I take care of the basic things, it allows me to be confident in my performances because, you don't just show up and compete on race day. You need to be competing every day at practice. And when you have that confidence in practice, you're able to bring that confidence to a meet, and then ultimately you're able to perform. And, that's kind of what we've always had, and that's why we've always been able to be so consistent within the past 3-4 years. And, just going into my final collegiate season, we want to finish it off with a bang. I've been one of the most consistent sprinters in NCAA. And we plan to take that to the pro leagues now. So now that I just recently graduated and, lost 2-3 meets of my collegiate career, I definitely want to just finish it off with a bang.
And that means you lose him because he's contracted to the college, right?
Not necessarily. I can still train with him even after I graduate.
And you plan on it?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I always say if it ain't broken, don't fix it. And me and him have a really great relationship. And I understand him as a coach. He understands me as an athlete. And, relationships and bonds like that, they go a long way in sports. And, same way I still have good relationships with my coaches back in high school. We still talk and communicate because, they helped me get here. They know me, and they saw talent where I didn't even believe I had that talent. And so I don't like to lose the relationships I've built throughout the past years. And just taking in the fact that Carl can still coach me post-collegiately. I still have someone who's going to be a good mentor to show me the game and pretty much walk the journey with me side by side.
I'm not sure if you, because I mean, you're much younger than what I am, and I was a big boy by the time I was watching Carl race in his heyday in Barcelona. Do you understand who that is? The man that stands next to you and coaches you, the man that shouts at you and says, Sean, and takes you through your paces. Do you understand the veracity of who this man is, though, Sean?
You know, I feel like I'll never truly understand his magnitude. It's kind of like the influence Michael Jackson had. You know, we never really know until you were there.
So you think you're Chris Brown, Gren. That's what you're saying.
No.
Yeah, that's what you're saying, Patrick. Patrick, slow down,
no. No, I'm saying, like, I'll never understand the magnitude, but because he tells me so many stories, and, you know, it's like, you know, he was literally like the biggest star in the world at a point.
Yeah.
And, you know, and it's hard to like fathom that guy's like my coach. You know, I can just wake up and just call him and say, like, I'm not feeling good today, you know, and he'll, you know, we'll just have a talk. We'll wake up and talk for like 2 hours, you know. So just to have that relationship and just be, you know, just have a close relationship with him like that, it's something special. And, you know, I don't take it for granted.
Listen, before I let you go, for those listening and wondering who the other voice is Patrice's Sean Maswanganyi, South African sprinter, who, of course, in February broke the record and now holds the 200-meter South African record. Have a listen to this. This is the clip from when he broke the record.
Andrews from Texas Tech. Star power is there in the men's 200.
Maswanganyi looked like he had a good start there in the 200.
Maswanganyi won the 100. Around the corner, Chauvin in the lead. Maswanganyi making his push, and it is the Houston Cougar, Sean Maswanganyi.
Talk to me about the Houston Cougar. Where does that come from? What kind of nickname is that? The Houston Cougar.
No, I mean, you know, my university has an animal that represents it. So
like a mascot of sorts.
Yeah, a mascot. Yeah. So our mascot is a cougar. So, you know, they call us Houston Cougars or Cougs. And you know, every university has their own. Like LSU will have LSU Tigers, and Alabama will have like Roll Tide and so forth. So that's kind of like how it is. And, you know, collegiately, you understand. If you know watching collegiate sports, you get it like that. But if you're from South Africa, I'm sure it must sound like, yeah, what is that nonsense?
Like Cougar,
you know, but yeah, that's American sporting culture.
No, I mean, it is. It really is. And, you know, not everybody gets to experience this, but I know a lot of you guys train outside of South Africa. So with the other South African sprinters, you know, you've got Akani Simbine, who's been the great hope of South Africa for a while now. Even before you know, Akani was there racing the likes of Usain Bolt. Never quite got to where we knew he's got the potential to. How close are you with him now? Do you guys talk with the other teams, with the other boys? Because also there's a relay element that I want to get into just now. But as far as the relationship with the likes of Akani, do you even have one?
Oh, yeah, we do have a relationship. That's my guy. You know, I mean, I grew up looking up to him, and, you know, they always say, you know, idols become your rivals. And, you know, I remember just seeing him back in 2016 when I was studying athletics, and we were in Germiston. I was just seeing him handle business the way he did. And, you know, we just grew to have a good relationship. And in terms of the relay, you know, we really, it ultimately boils down to practice. And, you know, our federation still not doing, I feel like they could still be doing a lot more in terms of taking care of us. I mean, just the other day I was speaking about how we have lack of funding, in a sense that, like, I'm not getting any support from the country. I was supposed to be receiving some sort of support at least, so I can able to recover like my expenses, you know, so I can come to relay camps and so forth, or travel when I need to come back to South Africa. But, you know, that's something that also, like, it affects the relay element, in a sense that, like, we can never always be together to at least, you know, have a practice here and there. I remember, like, in 2021, I was only able to go to like one relay camp, and that was when it was in Italy. And unfortunately, you know, when Gift, the guy was practicing with the most, you know, he got injured at the Olympics. So then we had to sub in, and then I had to run with Clarence. And, you know, Clarence and I barely had literally no practice at all, except for the day before the meet. And, you know, these are factors that, you know, we were not really prepared for. But, you know, I feel like with the right practice and enough reps and enough competitions going in, you know, we can mitigate the risk and allow ourselves to really perform at the highest level.
I'm really sad about what you're saying, because we've got such a great relay team. We've actually got, I think we stand a chance to medal. Yes, there's a US and Jamaica, definitely. UK. They're doing exceptionally well right now, and one or two of the Asian countries. But with the relay team that we have, I mean, we just saw them now when they were qualifying as well. That was without you. Add you to that relay team. It sounds and looks to me that we have a shot at the Olympics. And for you to come around and say, after what happened in Tokyo, what happened twice, in fact, with you know, the social factor, let's call it that, and you guys not having that social factor, dropping the baton, and us therefore being disqualified, the fact that they're still not seeing it in a way that you guys expressed back then is sad to me, because it says we haven't mitigated the chances of the same thing happening again.
Definitely. It's like doing, they always say that one saying where, if you do the same thing repetitively, hoping for a different result, that's what we call insanity. And that's what I feel like it is for the most part, because, I look at my collegiate team, for example. We've had so many changes in our relay. We've had, I think, 4 or 5 people, or a rotation of actually 6 people in this relay. And, the only reason we have the confidence we have now is because, we simply practice. So, we know injuries happen. We know, anything can happen at a meet, So we have all these practices because we know that, we can prepare for the worst. And, we have 2-3 relay practices in a week. We don't really have that, obviously, that grace as a country, because, all the athletes compete in different regions, and they, practice in different regions, et cetera, et cetera. But for the most part, we definitely have the depth. We have enough guys to get the job done. Because, I remember just last year in Budapest, we ran 37.72 in the prelims, and, we barely had any practices, but, we're able to do what we could. And, we just didn't have that confidence factor, in the sense that, we just needed to, it gets a little bit technical where you have to stretch out the exchange zones. And, now someone has to leave a lot earlier than what they anticipate. And, they have a higher chance of running out the zone. But, the reward is greater because now the time drops immensely. And, it's just that technical. But, I don't want to go into the nitty gritties of it. But, that stuff takes confidence, and it takes consistency and practice. And when we ran that 37.72 in the prelims at Worlds, I was like, oh my God, we can medal. We did that same time medaled in the finals. Literally, we ran that time out of lane 2, which is not a very good lane. It's a disadvantage lane if we, keeping it in the broad aspect of things. It's not a good lane draw, but we were able to run such a fast time in the prelims, and then we got a good time. We got a good lane in the finals, but obviously when you stretch out the exchange zones, et cetera, with not enough practice, the confidence factor drops, because now you're like, okay, will this guy get to me? Will I able to accelerate the zone and not leave the zone before he gets to me, et cetera, et cetera. So these type of things come into play. So it's not as simple as just running and just putting the stick in his hand. It's all about timing. It's all about perfection, and just making sure that you're running through the zone.
So the association is setting you guys up for failure then?
In the grand scheme of things, that's how I feel. Yes.
Because they could do a lot better, particularly knowing that this is a team that could potentially medal. You put your eggs in that basket. You support them the best way you can.
Definitely. I feel like, I feel like for the most part, like I said, we have the depth, we have the talent. Even right now, I was just speaking to some guys in the federation. I'm like, I just finished my collegiate season. I know I couldn't come to World Relays, et cetera, because I literally, I'm studying economics. That's a hard degree. I literally had 8 exams that same week. Literally 8 exams that same week of World Relays, so I couldn't make it. It's not like I didn't want to. I want to represent my country when I can, but also the cost factor of things. I lose so much because sometimes I'll have to pay for my own ticket and hope to be reimbursed sometime later if they can't pay for my ticket, et cetera, et cetera. So it's things like that.
It happens. It happens that the association say we can't pay for your ticket.
Yes, it happens. Yeah, definitely.
No, Pachu.
Because it's quite expensive. It gets expensive. It gets really expensive. Yeah. There were some guys I know in the relay team, in the 4x4, they were told that in the past they couldn't come because it's like, hey, dude, your ticket's almost 100,000 rand. We can't really afford to take you, So and it's just the way the game is. So that's why sometimes you can't always have the best athletes there, because sometimes it's like, okay, dude, it costs so much to get this guy to come all the way across the world, et cetera, et cetera. And many athletes don't speak out on this, but it's like, dude, we always taking the backlash whenever we don't perform, et cetera, et cetera. But it's like, dude, we don't get the support.
Yeah, help us help you type thing.
Yeah.
Listen, man, it's always a pleasure talking to you. I wish you all of the best. But before I let you go, can Noah Lyles be beat?
I feel like anyone is beatable. Any mortal man.
No, but
if you have
come on. You watching him run at the moment. You're seeing the times he's running at the moment. Can he be beat?
Oh, yeah. I remember just watching him because we were at the same meet at Tom Jones. I think it was less than a month ago, and literally they almost beat him that day. Argue from the angle, it looked like he actually got beat. But when the final times came out, he literally won by a tenth of a second, not even a tenth, 1,000th. So it went down to the third decimal. So, when you see things like that, like, dude, sometimes, no man cannot not be beat. I mean, even the greatest of the greatest got beat. Usain Bolt got beat. Carlos got beat. Morris Green got beat. So I don't believe anyone is unbeatable, It's all about execution and preparing for that moment, that big moment, and you have to rise above the occasion.
When you talk to Akani, because he's one of those people where it's always almost, but never really gets there, The last two Olympics, even during Usain's swan song, he looked at him and he was like, geez, this is one of the next big stars, but never quite get there, does Akani. Never quite crosses that threshold of being the underdog, of being the bubble under. Do you think this is his time? I mean, and you look at the age as well, and you look at where he is, these Olympics are big for your friend.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, he's one of the best guys to do it. I mean, you look at how consistent he's been throughout the years. And the thing is, with sprints, you can't ignore the fact that luck needs to be there. It's such a marginal game. It is so fractional. It's ridiculous. I mean, I look at the last two Olympics, last 2-3 Olympics, he's always been, top 5, top 4, and it's marginal. It's literally less than a finger. Like, when you look at it, it's literally less than a finger. And it's like just there. So, it's tough in a sense that, like, no one remembers second, third, fourth, fifth. They're only going to remember first place. And that's like one of the hardest parts about sport. But, we can't deny the fact that, he still has, represented us well and so forth. And so it's kind of, it feels unfair whenever people, just label like athletes as like choke artists because they didn't win. But, at the same time, you got to realize, I mean, it's the game. Obviously people support and they want what's best for us and they believe in us, et cetera, et cetera. But to some point, like that kind of stuff is like demoralizing, because it's like, dude, like you imagine you run a personal best. You run the best time you've ever ran in your life and you finish 4th. It's like, dude, what more could you have done? You know what I'm saying? But it's like, but they're not gonna, a lot of people are not gonna see it that way. They're gonna be like, this guy lost. He didn't win, But it's like, you were just there. And that's just, I mean, it's unfortunate. I mean, that's something I also have to deal with. In college, I faced the same stigma. It's like, dude, I came second, I came third. I would literally lose by 0.01. Which is close to nothing. It's close to nothing. It would, it's literally less than a hand. But they're still gonna call me a loser because I lost, because I didn't win. And we as athletes just take that on the chin and just try to be as best prepared as possible for the next race to win. Because at the end of the day, we just all competitors and we're all trying to win. So.
How did it feel to be a superstar on campus?
It is
the man that anchors the 4x4 relay, the man that is winning in the 100 and the 200 meters at all the meets, the Big 12, all of them. You're a South African boy who's got a complicated name that can't be said by many, who's trained by Carl Lewis, growing up in the USA as the big boy on campus. Come on.
I mean, for the
come on.
Let's see. So whenever I get to campus, sometimes, because obviously I'm not easy to find on campus because I'm either in the training room or I'm going to class. But like the brief moments where like I'm in a very public area, I remember like some people would like approach me like, "You in the student center?" Like I didn't expect to see you in the student center. It's like I'm like like it's funny because I'm like at the end of the day I still feel like a regular student, but other people don't treat me like a regular student, and they're like, yeah, like. And then they'll have a conversation with me. Some people are like, oh my God, like I only see you on the school page or see you on posters and billboards and stuff like that. And it's like, yeah, like you're so cool in person. And like, it blows my mind, but it's also like a humbling experience. I always enjoy interactions like that because at the end of the day, we just all here just to enjoy life and do our job. So it definitely has its perks, It definitely has its perks. People do favors for you and stuff. They'll let you, go in front of them in the line. They're like, we don't want you waiting, things like that. So, but overall,
listen to that. Hey,
in the grand scheme of things, we just, man.
No, enjoy it. Take it all in. You've worked hard for it, boy. You've worked very hard for it. College is almost done. Do you stay in Houston? Do you come back to South Africa? Do you move elsewhere in the U.S.? What happens when college is done?
So I recently just graduated, majored in economics just now, literally last week. So I'm still going to be here in Houston, based in Houston, training here. And I'm still going to be with Carl. And I'm going to transition into the next part of my life of running in the pro circuit or in the post-collegiate circuit. And essentially, routine's still going to be the same. Still going to prepare for the most part. And, only difference is now I'm probably going to be traveling a lot across the world a lot more for meets. I don't have to run the collegiate circuit, obviously, anymore. So I'm not bound because, most of the time I couldn't compete internationally because of my collegiate circuit and my academic requirements. But now I have that freedom of, being able to travel a lot more. I can go back home whenever I really want to, can see the family a lot more. And, just looking forward to this new transition and new phase of my life.
I want to hold you to something. I was going to say to you, what do you hope to achieve in France, in Paris, in just a couple of months? But I don't want to say hope. So let me say, what are you preparing for in Paris? As far as you're concerned, you've looked at everybody. You've looked at yourself, more importantly. You know the potential you have. I mean, you said to me, I haven't run sub 10, but I know I've got it in me. What are we expecting? Are we expecting a bronze? Are we expecting you just in the final, in the 100 and the 200? And the long jump, what are your expectations out of your disciplines?
So far as it stands, definitely in the 4x1, which is one of my biggest things that I know that we can medal in as a nation, even just outside of me. That is what I'm really confident about. And the 100, I know there's still a lot more work in a sense that if you want a medal, I know I need to be running around 9.8 low. That's pretty much what you need to run to medal. So obviously there's a lot more work in that. But I know if I run 9.9, I make the final. And the biggest thing my coach always emphasized to me is that make the final. Make the final, and it's anyone's game because anything can happen on that day. I mean, even a 10.00 can win, but essentially you need to be able to have that 9.8 in the tank to be able to make the final. And that's when you can rise above because once you make the final, it's anyone's ball game. I already know what the 200, my performance is, what type of performance I need to run or have in order to make the final. I know if I'm running anything around 2/10 around my PR in the semifinal, I know I can make the final, So whole lot of confidence, and really I'm just focused on superseding my previous performance in Tokyo, where I just narrowly missed out on the finals in the 200, and I finished 14th in the 100. So I knew from that time, that, okay, this is how I need to go through the rounds. I don't want to push myself too hard too early in the opening rounds, cruise through nicely, qualified decently. Don't blast the burners the first round. You still want to, because the hardest part is about track is having to come back and do that again and again and again while your body's fatigued, while you're dealing with, so it's what we train for, but every competition is different. So we have to always consider all these factors. So coming in, I know that, okay, Paris, I have that experience of Tokyo. I know how to go through the rounds a lot better. I have that experience. Okay, let's make the final, and then we know once we're in the final, we know what type of shape we're in. Because my body I know what I can run before because how my practices are, I'll know. So already I know if I make the final, I know what my body can give me that day, and I know that, okay, in order to be competitive in that top 3, I know I need to have 9.8 in my belt. So until I run 9.8 this season, I know that, okay, I'm in contention for that medal. If I run 19.7, 19.8, I know I'm in that contention for that medal. So right now, my 200-meter PB is 19.9. So I know that that is not enough for a medal, but it's enough to be in the mix. So I need to keep working and staying consistent and becoming a little bit more technical in practice, because at this point, it's not about just conditioning. It's about how technical you are and executing on the day. So a million pieces of the puzzle, but ultimately, me and Coach Carl, we have that plan, and we plan to execute.
Listen, boy, I appreciate you. I have much love for you. I'm going to take a look at when you race. I'll plan my trip to Paris during that time, in and around the time when I can be with you and watch you. All the best. Really appreciate you coming on. As per usual, you're always a great sport. Ladies and gentlemen, Thank Cougar, you. The superstar, Sean Maswanganyi. I appreciate you, boy.
Thank you so much for having me.
We don't play games. We wrote the game.
Up in here, it's burning.
Metro FM. It's where you want to be.
Sports Night Amplified with Andile on Metro FM.
the best journalist in South Africa at Super Journal.
Coach Rulani Mokwena was hammered for saying they are fatigued, they are tired. He doesn't know how the players are doing it, but his counterpart at Stellies is now also saying the reason that they've dropped points in the last two matches is because of the depth in the squad.
And it only gets worse for Stellenbosch because now you add continental football.
Yeah, absolutely. So if they continue, and that's
on the VAR
he even quit social media. Rulani, he said.
Quit which social media?
He said he's not on X or any social media.
I'm on Instagram.
We say someone else runs it for him, but I
that's also a DM.
I kisho.
6 to 7 p.m. for today's chart toppers. We've got your urban fix covered 24/7. Metro FM is where you want to be. Sports Night Amplified with Ndile on Metro FM. Proudly brought to you by SABC Sport.
1841. I see a lot of you appreciating and enjoying Sean Maswanganyi. He's doing well. He's doing well as the young boy. I mean, he was here. I remember him when he used to race here before he went to Houston. And he's always been a humble young man. Speaking of humble, I'm not sure if Vusi Vilakazi, coach at Richards Bay, can fall under that category of late. Vivi.
My brother, how are you?
Yeah, I'm grand. When we're right.
Sharp, I'm afraid. Sharp. Good evening to Metro FM listeners as well.
Yes, Vivi, when I used to introduce you in the past, bengithi the humble Vusi Vilakazi. Kodwa kule nsuku, hey, ukhuluma zikabhoqo zodwa.
I am humble. I am a humble person.
Manje usiyababiza uthi mabeze ngiyabazi ba weak.
No.
Vivi, it's great to have you. You've moved around. I was a bit worried about you at some point. You left Arrows and then the cheaper situation happened. Before we even get into all that stuff, congratulations on the amazing work you've been doing at Richards Bay. I know Gutim Mhlambe doesn't feel like it because of where you're sitting. Where are you thinking right now when you look at all that you've done since taking over in December?
Thank you so much, Andile. No, it's been a very, very difficult situation, I must be honest. Obviously, coming to join a team maybe halfway, because I think when I got to Richards Bay, it was 16 games left. So I was with Kaitano Tembo for the 3 games, and then after then I was in charge for almost 14 games with 2 remaining as well. So it was not an easy decision, obviously, looking at the log by that time that, hey, this is going to be a serious challenge for myself as a young coach who is not that much experienced, and I've never find myself in a situation where I'm about to try and save a team from relegation. But I think I must just commend myself in terms of the braveness to accept the challenge and believing in myself. But above all that, I think maybe I must thank the chairman for his braveness, trusting me with such a status of around 60-65 million and believing in me. So things have just been difficult, but we were trying to fight in terms of grinding for our results. When we started the second round, it looked like, hey, we're going to have a serious challenge and a problem. But I think as soon as the boys adjusted into the system and adjusted into the demands and the responsibilities, I think it was much better.
What do you think was the challenge at Richards Bay before you got there? Because I can imagine, before you take the job, you analyze what could have been the problem. You look at the players, you look at the log, you look at where you're leaking goals, you look at why you're not scoring. When you looked at it, when you arrived and saw, Coach Kaitano had done this and this, there's this and that, what did you see as the challenge?
It was not easy. It wasn't easy to identify the problem from far. When Kaitano was here, he also played a huge role. He had a huge impact in the setup in terms of trying, by all means, to take out the best out of the Richards Bay. But when I realized, when I arrived, I think the one thing that I realized, Andy, was that our players psychologically, they were affected, my brother. Maybe there are so many things that you can count, but one which highlights everything is the fact that when these boys lost a teammate on the field in front of them, psychologically they were affected. They were seriously affected. So I think it was a matter of trying to adjust them or align them in terms of psychological aspect. I'm not the aspect in that, but I tried my best in terms of making our players who would let them relax, they try to enjoy themselves, obviously in the line of duty in terms of making sure that we play constructive football with the purpose and try to get our results. But it wasn't easy, I must say. But some other things cannot be rectified overnight. So, but I kept on trying and doing more repetition in terms of what I believe could help the team.
So what was some of the first things that you instilled in your players, that allowed you to be able to win the 5 games that you have? Because if it wasn't for that, I don't know where Richards Bay would have been. From a coaching point of view, you needed to come and do something. What was that thing that helped even to get the confidence back from the players, to take them out from that having lost a friend, that mourning zone? How did you do it? How did you overturn that?
Yeah, I think the first thing, there's only 2 things, but the first one, Andile, was the support that we got from the management. Obviously, we didn't get a psychologist in terms of talking to the boys, but at least we had a pastor who was here with us from the beginning, trying to psycho our players in terms of believing in themselves and forget about what happened before. That was one thing that was very important, and I think it had a very huge impact in our setup. And then the second one, I think it was...
Sorry, Vivi, before you give me the second one. So you guys got Umfundisi to come in your training sessions and do what? And preach to the boys? So I'm just trying to get clarity on that. So he'd come in and have sessions with the boys, the Umfundisi?
Yeah, we had a sessions with Umfundisi. It wasn't a matter of preaching to us, but just to bring that hope and belief out of his setup here. They've done it before, and they can still do it. I'm mentioning Umfundisi because I think this is the team that when I got here, is the team that believes so much in the prayer. The chairman and also the chair lady, they believe so much in the prayer, and I think that had a very serious impact in terms of trying to help the situation here. Then the second one was the fact that I think I was fortunate in terms of being a former player and tried to relate to former players in terms of coming or getting into E-level yabo as our players, understanding our problems wabo, and also try to relate. I think I've done pretty well on that point, because I could see if Upans, I could see if Upalo, Unsundwana, Noma, Salim, if he's not okay, and I will talk to the player one-on-one, try to relate into his situation, and I think I've done well in that terms, because our players are free-spirited in terms of talking to me, and also when we get into our challenges that they have, even football-wise, it's easy to try and come up with a solution, because
you mentioned Sanela Barnes. He's been an outstanding player this season. I was reading the stats that Opta Jabu had given us last week. He's had the most goals, chances created in the DCV Premiership from open play, and because he does all the free kicks and the corners as well, with that as well. This is a player that's been great for you guys. Even the last game now, Pirates, he's the difference in that match, but also he'll be leaving you.
Definitely, Andile. He's been doing very well for the club, I must say. And it's the first time where I come across a player who has already concluded the deal and he's leaving the club. But the commitment and the professionalism out of this boy is outstanding. He commits himself, he's working very hard. And I remember just before the Pirates game, I was just joking to him and I'm asking him, hey, Baba, can we reverse this thing and then pay Stellenbosch back and you stay? Please, coach, please do that. So that's the love that he has for the club. He loves the club. I think the club gave him an opportunity to play in the highest league in the PSL. So I think he's very much committed to the club. I feel bad we are losing him. But
are you not disappointed at the club, though, not keeping a player like that? He's going just across the pond to a team in Cape Town, Stellenbosch. You guys couldn't keep him. There was no. By the time you arrived, I'm sure it was a little too late. But you've had conversations. The club couldn't keep him. That's a great player.
He's a very great player. I think I only deal with the football matters.
You don't get involved in players coming and leaving. You don't say, "Hey, Che, I saw this player. I think is great. Let's bring him on." So you don't get involved. That you just get given players and players just leave.
I can't do that. I always suggest to the chairman to who must we bring and stuff like that. I've done that before, and there are players in the setup whom I recommended to the chairman. But I think maybe there's other reasons as well. If you are considered as a young team, or a small team rather, I think obviously we need to generate in terms of making sure that we produce players and we sell them so that the team can make money. I didn't challenge that that reason for that fact that maybe we are trying to get something out of the player. There are a lot of talent in KZN, and we are always going out there and search for talent. I'm sure we will try and get someone. We will never get someone who will be like Upans. Upans will always be Pans. But I'm sure we can get something closer to that or more than Upans.
And then there's another player that every season I see him and I'm like, ooh, are they going to be able to hold on to him? Salim Magula. What a goalkeeper. 2 seasons ago, he was probably one of the best had he not gotten the injury that he got. And even now, he's still showing up for you.
He has done well. He has done well. Even before I came to Richards Bay, he's been outstanding. And even recently, I think he did very well. When we played against Polokwane away in Polokwane, he had great saves. Few great saves, and we played against Chiefs. We did the same thing, and against the Orlando Pirates as well. So I think he's a good goalkeeper, Andile, and I'm not too sure about his situation in terms of the negotiations with the chairman right now, but he's one player whom you would love to have even next season.
But they're busy with the negotiations. You guys are trying to keep him.
Yes, I do know that the chairman is speaking to him.
And you, the chairman and you, because like you said, there is a consultation, so you can say that you as a club want to keep him.
Definitely. I've expressed myself to the chairman in terms of trying to keep him. So I think it's between him and his agent and the chairman. So to negotiate and find a common ground. Yeah, but I would love to keep Salim. But obviously, we are still having another assignment ahead of us. One assignment gone, which was to make sure that you are not automatically
Do you know if there's any offers for Magula?
I'm not too sure. I'm not his agent. I'm not too sure.
Come on, Vivi.
No, I wouldn't know that.
Okay, fine. Let's put it like this. Has there been interest in him? As far as what you know. Has there anybody said, hey, guys, can we inquire?
What I know is what I see in the social media, just like other people, but I'm not too sure as to a formal approach has been made to Magula. I'm not too sure about that.
Okay. Before we move on to the 2 games that you've got remaining, there's another player, and many of us, when we saw Mbutuma, thought, here's an answer to a lot of questions in South African striking force even. But it's ngathi khona lento engeqi nqi Vivi.
I think Mbutuma has a great potential, in fact. Great potential, and he's still here to be something big in South Africa, I must say. When you look at the energy, the hard work he gives, he put in his game, it's tremendous. I think only one thing that is missing maybe for now, because all the time, Andile, when you skip stages in football, you are bound with him, the adaptation or the process will be very much slow. Mbutuma was playing in the ABC when Richards Bay signed him, so he skipped in the processes and we know very well that sometimes Guma development they are not taking Wongama stages which are needed so that you can be a complete player in the PSL. But it's work in progress in terms of trying to help him as a striker and a good striker, a future striker for even Bafana Bafana. So we are working slowly but surely he will be one of the big things in South Africa.
The last time I spoke to you, and the last time, you were trending was because of the coach licensing stuff, when it was said that, you got coaches that have taken over teams, yet they're not even qualified to coach high school. You can't be spoken of like that anymore.
Not anymore, sir. Not anymore, sir.
What's
but
happened?
I think the first thing I just need to appreciate the effort from USAFA and giving us this platform. The last time I did my license until the KFC license was 2016. And after that, there was no AMA courses who were provided. But I know that there were problems between SAFA and also KEF. But that's why I'm saying it wasn't a matter of refusing to go and upskill myself, but it was a matter of the availability of AMA courses in South Africa. Yes, I knew outside you could go, but there were challenges in terms of going outside. But I think I appreciate the opportunity, and the KEF B diploma is very much informative. AMA instructors, the Prakonti, Steve, and also our guest, Utabo Sinong, these people are something else, and very informative, and we are learning. I think we will take our football into another level.
Well, that level is going to be needed because you've got 2 games with Cape Town teams this weekend and the next to try and make sure that you seal safety in the DStv Premiership and you don't go into that playoff spot. You're playing Cape Town City away and Stellenbosch at home. I look at that Cape Town City one in particular, and I think, hey, VV has got it the toughest between you, Royal AM. You've got the toughest simply because you've only won 2 games away this whole season. You personally only won. And then you've got Stellenbosch who, yes, they've dropped points in the last couple of games, but they're fighting for that second spot as well. It's not easy.
Not going to be easy at all. Not going to be easy. But I think we were just lacking until the consistent in terms of winning our games. Winning 2, 3 in a row, we were struggling. We would win 1 and then lose 1 and draw and stuff like that. But I think lately in our past 5 games, I think we did very well as a team. And I think the commitment and also looking at the bigger picture now, that there is light in front of us. I always tell our players, since the beginning when I arrived, that we don't need to fill our eyes with tears because we might not be able to see another opportunity coming our way. And I think the focus now and sending a strong message into the mind, because that's the serious weapon. If the mind is not taking what you are saying as a person, then it's a problem. So I think Amachita have adapted, even though we didn't have much time in terms of trying to install what I needed in this team in terms of the philosophy or the identity that Ukanu prefers. But there was no time for that. I think circumstances and they forced us in terms of trying to grind for our results more than anything else. I would have liked to play a beautiful, constructive football, which is a beautiful football with results. But I can't do that because there's no time now. We just need to fight and grind for our results. But so far, so good. Toughest opponent, as you are saying, Cape Town City. But we can still fight. I think the effort that we gave in the past few games, specifically on the last game when we played against Pirates, nobody gave us a chance in terms of winning that game. But through the hard work, and we've managed to be victorious on the day because of the hard work.
Vivi, I wish you the best of luck. I hope that next season you're still going to be a coach in the DStv Premiership so we can have better conversations. I appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. We'll dig deep and grind for our results.
Visit betway.co.za and never miss out on the non-stop action. Get way more with Betway.
The title race heats up as we reach the end of the season. Who will be crowned the Kings of England? There are still some blockbuster fixtures to come, with the semi-finals of the European football to come still. Don't forget to top up your Tuesday to get way more with Betway. Don't forget to visit betway.co.za for all your latest odds and promotions.
Visit betway.co.za to bet on every unforgettable sporting moment. Get way more with Betway.
18:59, meaning top of the hour. She comes in all the way till 9 o'clock. I mean, I was seeing on the socials, people like, hey, why better interview? Here? Umutuli interview. Yeah? Okay. If you were to interview me or a guy to be a potential partner for you, what would you say is the first and most important question you'd ask?
The first and most important?
Yeah, if I say this one I have to answer, it doesn't matter what, it's a deal breaker, you have to answer this because it's a need for you to know. It is the most important one for you to know.
What do you want?
What do you want?
What do you want? There's only one thing that
Phew.
yeah, there's only one question, and you know, if you're dating or if you're getting to know each other, my biggest question is asking, what do you want?
What's wrong? Timmy is making all sorts of...
I know, because I think they can't
Oh,
hear
is
me.
the mic...
The
Why don't you
microphone
say?
was just not working.
Hey,
They
he's
could've just
busy.
said our
He's pointing.
microphone.
Just say the microphone.
So
Timmy.
the question that I would ask somebody who I'm interviewing as a potential mate would be, what do you want?
Do you think that's the most important question?
What do you want? Because when you tell me what you want, that's when I know, A, if I fit into what you want, if I'm part of the plan of what you want, but I also know if I am what you want. Do you know what I'm saying? Because I think that a lot of times we avoid difficult questions because we're afraid of the answer. We avoid the difficult questions lest we find out the answer that is less favorable to our needs. And what we need to learn how to do is ask the difficult questions so that you can save yourself 5 years, right? Save yourself 5 years that you could have done away with within the space of 3 months or even 6 months. But because we don't ask people, what do you actually, Angela, what do you want? Do you want me? What kind of a version of me do you want? Do you actually want this? What does this look like? And because we're so afraid of the answers that you are going to provide, which may lead to my potential not fitting into your relationship outcomes or your relationship desires, we don't ask the questions, we don't ask the difficult questions, and then you wonder why is it that 10 years later, 5 years later, 5 years down the line, you're both not happy. You're not happy because you never asked each other, what do you actually want? Because if you don't want me, then don't be with me. You know?
And it's not as simple as Ubatlan, because now your answer will tell me if Ubatlan.
Exactly. And Ubatla, what kind of a faith do you want? Ubatla musado jwang? What do you want it to do? How? Do I fit into that school? No, but I don't believe in that. Do you want somebody with kids? Do you want somebody who doesn't want kids? Do you want... All of these things are the most difficult conversations that we have with a person because the answer will determine whether or not we are the right person for them. And what we often are afraid of is getting to the part of, shucks, they are not for me. And then we feel rejected because again, we are so afraid of rejection. So then we feel rejected. And what we don't realize is that rejection is actually you saving yourself time, energy, a broken heart in the long run, and possibly for you, money. Because why are you taking me out on dates if I'm not what you want in the first place?
Yeah, so sit there and paint your picture of what you see.
What do you want?
What do you see? What does your wife look like? What is she doing? Paint that picture, then I can tell you if that could be me or not. Wow, I love that. Ask the question, what do you want?
What do you want?
Well, we want a show this evening. What do you have?
Well, you're going to get the show this evening because we are going to be speaking to the African National Congress ahead of the elections. We're in conversation with the former ANC Treasurer General of the ANC and the first Premier of Mpumalanga province. We've got Dr. Matthews Posa in the studio with us. This is ahead of the elections. It's going to be a riveting conversation as we get to understand his side. Another thing that came out today, if you missed it, here's a thing, South Africa. According to the latest unemployment figures by Statistics South Africa, released in their quarterly labor force survey for 2024, the unemployment rate in this country has increased. It has risen to 32.9%, and that is not even the expanded rate. And that is from 32.1% in the fourth quarter of 2023. In other words, unemployment in South Africa has increased. We'll talk about that with our labor analysts. And then obviously just after 8 o'clock, you would have also seen this in the news that we're going to disseminate as a collective. I mean, we're going to take it back to basics this evening. The NHI bill is going to be signed by President Cyril Ramaphosa on Wednesday. That is being viewed. And we've got a lot of civil organizations that are even saying, for the likes of Business Unity South Africa, saying that they're even willing to take the presidency to court over this matter, or government to court over this matter. We're in conversation with them. We've got doctors that are saying this thing will, in its current form, there's nothing wrong with the bill. We all know that we all deserve equal good quality medical care. But in its current form, the bill does not serve to do more good than it will harm. So we're going to get into that about the NHI just after 8 o'clock. Listen, ask the questions now, because ultimately on Wednesday, if that pen goes into paper, you must know what you're dealing with.
Yeah, I my mates because Nagel after 8. It's 4 going 5 after the hour 7. She comes in. It's Faith for the next 2 hours before we start serving you up with some music with Paul that comes in from 9 o'clock all the way then to top of the hour 12, I think it is, yeah? My maths is a little bit wrong right now, but yeah, that's it. It's a Metro FM offering that. That's why you want to be here. From myself and my amazing team, Pella Pella, and all me.
Don't touch that dial. It's now a different playing field. Metro FM. It's where you want to be. Metro FM is committed to a code of conduct as outlined by the